Berlin, a capital city at the centre of Europe's diplomacy. On this September day, Germany's Foreign Minister Johann Wadephul steps before the press, flanked by Sweden's Maria Malmer Stenegard. Their message is clear. Berlin condemns the latest phase of Israel's offensive on Gaza City, calling it a step in completely the wrong direction. The atmosphere is charged. Reporters lean forward, pens racing across notepads. Photographers capture every glance, every gesture. What seems like a routine press briefing is, in fact, a pivotal declaration from one of Israel's most important European allies. The new offensive towards Gaza City is going in completely the wrong direction. We disapprove of it and have made this clear to the Israeli government. This is also the basis for the restrictions we, as the federal government, have imposed on arms deliveries. With those words, Berlin signals more than disapproval. Arms deliveries to Israel, once considered untouchable, are now restricted. Germany is translating criticism into policy. This is why, once again, our urgent appeal to the Israeli government, as well as to all those who have contacts with Hamas, to now seek the path of negotiations for a ceasefire and an agreement on the release of hostages. Diplomacy, not escalation. Wadephul's plea is directed at both Israel and the intermediaries who speak to Hamas, Egypt, Qatar, Turkey. At the heart of this appeal, a ceasefire and the release of hostages whose plight grips global attention. The German government will always reassess the situation in light of further developments in Gaza and also with regard to possible annexation efforts in the West Bank. Our position in both cases is very clear. Annexations are contrary to international law and would require a political response from us. It is not just Gaza. Berlin warns that any annexation attempts in the West Bank would violate international law and compel a political response. For Germany, the rules of the international order remain non-negotiable. Germany's stance does not arise in a vacuum. For decades, Berlin has stood by Israel, tied by history and responsibility. Yet today, as Gaza burns and international law is tested, Germany is recalibrating its voice. The offensive in Gaza City has brought devastation. Neighborhoods flattened, families displaced, hospitals overwhelmed. Palestinian sources cite mounting casualties, while Israel insists Hamas embeds its fighters among civilians, making separation of combatants from innocents nearly impossible. The fog of war clouds the facts, but the images speak loudly: collapsed buildings, wounded children, grieving families. Against this backdrop, Germany steps forward, urging a path of restraint. Restricting arms is not symbolic, it is leverage. Berlin hopes that by tightening the flow of military support, it can pressure Israel to reconsider its tactics. At the same time, Germany is careful. Wadephul's words are critical of the offensive, but they do not abandon Israel's security. Instead, Berlin balances, recognizing Israel's right to defend itself while denouncing actions that, in its view, deepen humanitarian catastrophe. This balance resonates across Europe. Sweden, standing at Wadephul's side, underscores a growing European chorus. France, Spain, and Ireland have already sharpened their critiques. If Germany shifts, the European Union may soon follow with coordinated pressure. For humanitarian agencies, Berlin's words arrive late but welcome. The United Nations, Médecins Sans Frontières, and the Red Cross all warn that Gaza's infrastructure is near collapse. Power grids barely function, clean water is scarce, and the medical system is on the brink. In that context, calls for negotiation are not political niceties, they are lifelines. The mention of hostages is deliberate. Around the world, rallies demand their release. Families wait for news, uncertain whether their loved ones are alive. Germany's appeal aims to put their fate at the centre of any ceasefire arrangement. Without addressing the hostages, no agreement will hold. Regionally, Wadephul's words echo in Cairo, Doha, and Ankara. These capitals are the channels through which Hamas communicates. By addressing all those in contact with Hamas, Germany signals the time for back-channel diplomacy is now. Israel, meanwhile, defends its campaign. Officials insist operations are targeted at Hamas's military infrastructure, tunnels, weapons caches, command centres. They argue that halting the offensive before Hamas is dismantled would only invite further attacks. Germany's condemnation, then, is not merely political. It strikes at the core of Israel's strategy. What happens next? For Berlin, the course is clear: continued reassessment. Wadephul pledged that every development, from the battlefield in Gaza to annexation plans in the West Bank, will shape Germany's response. International law, he insists, is the compass guiding policy. As the ministers leave the podium, the press room empties. But outside these walls, the story is far from over. The violence in Gaza continues, the hostages remain in captivity, and the diplomatic machinery of Europe grinds into motion. Germany has chosen its words carefully but firmly. For now, it is an appeal, urgent, public, unmistakable. The question that lingers is whether those words will shift the course of war or be drowned out by its thunder.
Handelsabkommen nicht in Frage gestellt. Aber Schweden und andere Länder in Europa möchten ja etwas anders sehen.
Herr Außenministerin, Frau Außenminister, eine Frage zu Gaza. Israel im Gazastreifen macht ist Genozid. Schließen Sie sich dem an und
so scheint, spüren wir, wie unverzichtbar und einig. Wir müssen die Ukraine weiter mit Nachdruck. Denn dass ein Sieg Russlands gegen die Ukraine keinerlei Frieden brächte, sondern nur die Einladung zu neuen Aggressionen. Wenige Tage später in Rumänien sprechen eine klare Sprache. Fast tägliche Störungen von unserem GPS-System. Dieser Ihnen geeint ist und nach außen entschlossen handelt. Partner wie Deutschland und Schweden wird diese Modernisierung nicht gelingen.
Sehr klar gesagt, die neuerliche Offensive in Richtung Gaza-Stadt ist in dieser Hinsicht die vollkommen falsche Richtung. Wir lehnen das ab und haben das auch gegenüber der israelischen Regierung deutlich gemacht. Das ist ja letzten Endes auch die Basis für die Restriktionen, die wir bei den Waffenlieferungen als Bundesregierung vorgenommen haben und deswegen nochmal genommen haben. Und deswegen nochmals der eindringliche Appell an die israelische Regierung, ebenso wie natürlich auf alle, die zu Hamas, die eine Terrororganisation sind, Kontakt haben, jetzt den Weg zu Waffenstillstandsverhandlungen und zu einem Abkommen über die Freilassung der Geiseln zu suchen. Das ist jetzt der richtige Weg und nicht eine militärische Fortführung der Auseinandersetzung. Die Bundesregierung wird immer im Lichte der weiteren Entwicklung im Gazastreifen und auch hinsichtlich möglicher Annexionsanstrengungen seitens der israelischen Regierung in der Westbank die Situation neu beurteilen. Unsere Position in beiden Fällen ist sehr klar. Annexionen sind völkerrechtswidrig und würden auch eine politische Reaktion von uns erfordern.